right, we're on Parah Parakim Mishnah Zayin. So they built the ramp. There we go. They built the ramp. The Parah is not there yet. We got to get the Parah from here, from the Beit HaMikdash. Remember, we're looking out from Har HaZeitim. The Beit HaMikdash is at the far side. If you remember, if you're the Kotel HaMaravi is the other side, looking to this way to the Beit HaMikdash. So they had to go this way. Okay, the Kotel HaMizrachi. They went out the east gate, and they had to build this ramp. And they had to get the cow there. They had to get the Parah Aduma to there. Lo ita Parah rotzah letzeit. If the Parah didn't want to go, then how do you force it? You can't, you can't blemish it in any way. You got to be very careful. Ein motzini mashchora. So maybe you take its friend with it, and you can't take a black one with it. Shelo yaru shchora shachatu. So we don't want people to look and say, oh, see, they took a black cow on the ramp, so they must have slaughtered a black cow. Below aduma, if you have to have two, you can't take another Parah Aduma. Shelo yamru shtaim shachatu. They don't want people to say, oh, they slaughtered two, as if they had two like running around. Rabbi Yossi says, lo mishum zeh. That's not why they didn't take another animal with it. They had to figure it out. Wait till it wants to go. Probably offer it food or something. Ela mishum shenema, because it says v'hotzi ota. This is from the pasuk. Let's go to the psukim. El michutz hamachaneh. Okay, it says unetatem ota el lazar, and give this Parah Aduma to the Kohen. V'hotzi ota, and take it el michutz hamachaneh, outside the camp. V'shachat ota lefanav. So v'hotzi ota means v'hotzi ota here, that you should take it levada. You only take it and you don't take anybody else. Okay. V'ziknei Yisrael makdimim beragleihem, and the elders of Israel would go before it on their feet. L'har hamishcha, to har mishcha to har zeitim. I assume they had a whole procession. It was an incredibly festive thing because it was so rare that they did this. Ubeit tefillah hayasham, and there was a beit tefillah, there was a mikveh there. V'oto beit tefillah, Bartuna says that beit tefillah was chalul haya al gabei kipim b'bnei kevetom. So in this whole scene, so somewhere in here they built a mikveh on the ramps. Somewhere in here, I don't know. They had a beit tefillah in there somewhere, probably in one of those things. But it had to be obviously on the kipin, on the archways, because you can't go to the mikveh if you're worried about tuma in some kever, in some grave under you. Okay, umetam, and this is where we said that we learned all the preparations that they made. They made the super duper preparations, and they even raised this child. Actually, if you go to the Kohen Tamei page for Parah Aduma, okay, they're holding a Parah Aduma, and they actually illustrate. You can see they have an illustration of how they would raise this child. If you go down, you see here that there's an image of the raising of the child. There was this chatzer in Yerushalayim to raise a child. Could you imagine if you were raised in this? It's like hard to imagine that it was just this was the courtyard somewhere, that the child was limited, couldn't go in or out, like had to live in this little courtyard for his whole life until they ready. They so rarely did the Parah Aduma. I guess they only raised the child that way when they knew that they were running out of Parah Aduma water. Anyway. They would actively be mitameh. Remember all those preparations? The reason they would make those preparations because they were going to intentionally make the Kohen that burn the Parah tameh. Why would they do this? Because the Tzedokim. Shelo yu omrim, so they shouldn't say memoravei shemesh haitan aseh. The Tzedokim said, no, we mentioned this before, but here it's explicit in the Mishnah. The Tzedokim held the following. Let's go to Bartudor for a second. The Torah says, Shayu dorshim ve'asaf ish tahor. Let's look at the psukim. Later on, it says, you burn the Kohen, you burn it, you take it, you throw the stuff in. Now, ve'asaf ish tahor et efer parah. And a person who's an ish tahor, who's a pure person, he had to be purified. He had to gather the ashes of the parah and take them outside the machaneh and the kontar. What does that mean, ish tahor? What does that mean that a person should be a tahor person? So the Bartunura says that Tzedokim would say, Ein tahor ela shehi riv shimsho. Not only did he go to the mikvah, he came tameh, but not only did he go to the mikvah, and then you waited till the evening. It says in the Torah, Uvah hashemesh v'tahir. Like, we wait until the nightfall until you become tahor. And we obviously agree with that if a Kohen wants to eat, this is the first Mishnah in Shas. If a Kohen wants to eat truma, he has to wait until Herav shemesh, until the sun goes down. The Chachamim kiblu, and that's the more important word here. The sages had a Kabbalah. They had a tradition. The tahor amor beparshat chata. The tahor here is tahor the ma'aser ka'amar. It's for ma'aser, the hainu tvul yom. Not like a Kohen for truma, but for ma'aser. All these means tvul yom. That was their Kabbalah. That was their acceptance. That was their tradition. And in order to enforce this, their tradition, it seems such a minor point. What's the difference? So you should wait till nightfall. No. In order to to defy the Tzedokim, they would intentionally take incredible precautions so that they would then make the Kohen Tamei, Shelo Yuamim, so that nobody would say, and I say, no, we don't even, we're going to make him Tamei, and then tell him to go to the mikveh right here, and then do the Parah Aduma, because we're not waiting for Rav Shemesh in order to show that the Tzedukim were wrong. Really, very, very fascinating. How did they make him Tamei? So some say, the Bartuner says mostly that they did, we're going to see in the next Mishnah, Samchu Yidem, they did smicha, the Kohanim did smicha, the other Kohanim did smicha on the Kohen Gadol. And they were not prepared for chatat. So it was like, they were Tamei vis-a-vis the Kohen Gadol, the Kohen was doing the chatat. So it's not a real tumah. It's like a tumah relative to the Parah Aduma. Whereas the Rambam says no, they would make him pick up a sheretz or some other thing that makes people have to go to the mikvah. It's really, really, really interesting, quite fascinating. We'll stop here. Dedicate our learning to remember my father, Rab Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Make it a great day.